Hi, everybody. My name is David Alvarado, and I will be talking about the sorting activity. So, what exactly is this sorting activity? At some point, I'm sure that we've all had the ability to be involved in this sorting activity. It's essentially having our students use different artifacts, objects, words, sentences, to create whatever it is exactly we want them to create. The set parameters that we have in our lesson plan, this is an activity that we can use to help reinforce our goals. So, for example, we may give kids a bunch of different words and tell them to create a sentence with it. So, we may give a couple of students the words they and ate, and then lunch, and then we tell them, okay, create sentence with that. We may give them different sentences themselves to create paragraphs or phrases to create paragraphs. It's a way for our students to create sentences and see the structure of what they look like without having to be at a loss of words of, oh, I don't know how to write this word, or I don't know this particular word. And so this is really good for our ELL students, our English language learner students, because they're able to create the structure of sentences without having the stress of trying to remember what the words are or what the grammar should necessarily look like exactly on the spot. We give them the tools they need, they just have to use them to create. This allows our students to also show what concepts they are grasping in terms of grammar, in terms of words, in terms of punctuation, and what concepts they are not particularly grasping just yet. We're able to use this information to better help our students and to better reinforce vocabulary, grammar, and memory for the students. So there are a lot of ways to make this successful. These are kind of the ways that I think we can be more successful. So color code things, be not boring essentially. If we give our students a bunch of words on plain white paper and we just Sharpie in the word, it's there, but it's not engaging. And when we have students that are probably frustrated that they're not picking things up as quickly, they're still learning the ropes of what concepts are trying to present to them, it can get a little placid very quick. So we need to make things exciting and more standoutish. And I find that colors and different just shapes, they are a lot more engaging than just a plain white paper. So for example, for the demonstration I'm going to do later, I put all of my words into different colors. And I also kind of categorize everything. So all the pronouns are in pink, all the verbs are going to be in green, all the adjectives and nouns are going to be in orange. Well, I guess these are only nouns at this point. Um, and so this is just more engaging. It's more pleasing for the eyes. It's something that helps our students also memorize things better when things are color coded. Understand the grade level. Students that are in kindergarten are not going to need to have the same lesson plan as those who are in middle school or who are in high school, for example. So just understand what we're trying to accomplish. Try not to use too over-the-top words for the younger kids, and then try to challenge our older kids as we go forward. Um, Everyone is going to be at different levels, and this is why understanding where the students are in terms of retaining the concepts that we're trying to teach them is important because we're able to individualize our lesson plan a little bit when we need to. We're able to kind of see what students need that extra help, that extra little push, and we're able to be more successful in teaching everyone as a whole. And of course, really, like I said before, be engaging, make it fun. Don't just have plain white paper, but have things color coded, have things in different shapes. Be fun in the activity. If we're able to make this a game in its own sense, then students are going to be more willing to engage, be more social and communal in this, and collaborate to create words and learn together. So we're going to go ahead and go into our demonstration time. I'm going to act as a teacher. We're going to just push this through, and I'm going to show you how I would go about this. So let's create sentences. Today, we're going to go ahead and look at some of our goals, right? So we want to firstly remember our words. We want to use those words properly. We don't just want to put things into a salad and mix it up. We want to formulate exactly how we want to talk. We are going to work in our groups. So we have groups of three, and each one of us is going to have our own specific responsibility in the sentences that we're going to create. We're going to create the sentences together with the words that we all individually have. And then later on, we're going to get into bigger groups and use all of our words to create even bigger sentences. So, let's see. So our tools. We do have a bunch of tools, and like I said, everybody has different colors. We have different words, and let's go and talk about what they mean exactly. So pink, if you have pink words, you have things such as they, or she, or I, or we, or he. These are our pronouns. So with that being said, we have the green category. Those who have green are going to have words such as ate, or wrote, or ran, or saw. These are going to be our verbs. These are kind of like the bridge between our pronouns to our noun. And then you guessed it, with orange comes our nouns. So these are going to be words such as cat, gym, essay, lunch. These are nouns. So essentially, what we want to do together is we're going to use our different tools to create different sentences. So if you have pink, you're probably going to be at the front of the sentence. If you have green, you might be in the middle of the sentence. If you have orange, you might be at the end of the sentence. And so we want to use the right words to make the message clear, and we want to use the proper structure to make our sentences make sense. So with that being said, I want you all to go ahead and take some time to make a couple of sentences. I want you to write every one of the sentences down as well in our journals, and then we're going to go ahead and share what we all came up with as a group. Okay, so go ahead and do that for the next few minutes. Awesome. Now that you all have had time, I want you to go ahead and look at your journals, and I want everyone to choose one sentence that they like the best. I want you all as a group to decide what sentence you like the best, and then we're going to go around the class and we're going to share what we created together. Okay? So let's go and start with group one. Fantastic. Group two. Okay. And group three. And group four. So we had sentences such as we ate lunch. Um, I ran at gym. She wrote an essay. And he read in the gym. Fantastic. So we're trying to formulate these sentences. We're trying to formulate these sentences with the words that we have, and we did a fantastic job at that. Now we're going to go ahead and get into bigger groups. So I want you to find another group of three. So we have a group of three with yourselves. We're going to find another group of three, and we're going to make a bigger group. So in total, we should have a group of six. And what I want us to do is go ahead and create some sentences together. We have a lot more words. We have a lot more ideas. We have a lot more things that have been written in our journal. So let's go and combine stuff and let's see the biggest sentence that we create. And here's the thing, the group with the biggest sentence is the winner of today. So let's go and do that. I'm going to give you a few minutes to formulate some sentences and use our words to do this. Awesome. Now we're going to go around the group and we are going to share what we came up with. Okay, so group one. Fantastic. And group two. Awesome. Now we're going to put it to a vote as to which sentence we like the best. All right, it seems like group one has won the best sentence, the longest sentence as well. And so that's fantastic. Good job, everybody, on creating these sentences. I'm very proud of everybody. It's not easy. English is hard. Words are hard. We're trying to create a message with words and our verbal speech. So let's just try to keep practicing it and just let's try to do our best to memorize our words and everything that we're learning today. Good job, everybody.
Hello, my name is Corri. I worked with this on this project with David. The strategy I'm presenting today is strategy 18 for close. So, close is an activity where Words are removed from the text and replaced with blanks to test reading comprehension and encourage the use of context clues. This technique is commonly used to test vocabulary. I've seen it in the after school care program that I work at, where my first grade students will come in and they will have homework that has sentences that have blanks in the middle or at the start or at the end of the sentence. And we usually have a vocab box at the top that they can choose words from. So it's really helpful in the classroom for general learners and ELL learners as well. So there are 4 different types of close. There is traditional, where there are randomly selected words that are pulled out of a sentence. The example I used here is I went for a walk to the blank. You can really choose anything unless there's a vocab word that you're supposed to choose, but you can put I went for a walk to the park, I went for a walk to the beach, stuff like that. The other style was syntactic. I hope I'm saying that right. This is where words that make up the structure of a sentence are deleted. So I watched carefully blank, I was blank, be disappointed. So you can fill in any kind of word there that is a structure based. So it's stuff like the, to, a, stuff that help create the full sentence. The next one is semantic. The words that make up the content of the sentence are deleted. So I wanted to blank a blank. So I wanted to pet a dog or something like that. Anything that creates the content of the sentence, the information that's being given. And then there's graphophonic. So some of the letters are deleted instead of full words. This is usually used with younger kids. So there's like a beginner aspect to it. So I wanted to see a, you can really fill in that with anything. I wanted to see a duck. I wanted to see a deck, anything like that. So, yeah. So the step-by-step of using close with students is first you want to observe student reading behaviors and see how they are and where they're at with that. Number 2 is you group students for instruction. You group by learning levels. I think that works the best. Number 3, you introduce close with a chart sentence. So give them some examples. Number 4, you prepare a close activity. So kind of like what I said before with the sentence structuring on paper, that's usually what people do. Number 5, you identify appropriate words to fill the blanks. So this is pulling in the vocab aspect of it. Like if you were teaching kindergarten, you wouldn't use like a really big word. You would use a smaller word, something that they're already kind of working on. Number 6, you have to assess the student growth and understanding. So don't just do the assignment or do the close activity and then kind of leave it there. You want to see if they're actually understanding what you're putting out. And then 7, you can add technology and have them create something to help kind of solidify what they're learning in the close activity. So results per grade will differ, and what you're kind of looking for in each grade is different. So for pre-K to 3rd grade students, you're probably going to be looking at students supplying omitted words in a closed sentence and suggesting optional words. For 4th through 8th grade students, they're going to be able to supply omitted words in a more complex text and identify words in context that change the sentence meaning. And then once you get to high school, they're going to be able to identify unknown words using both sentence context and other cues, and then supply words in context based on syntactic knowledge. So now we're going to do a group activity, and I've already kind of walked you through a little bit of what we're going to do, but I will explain it now. So I'm going to put a sentence up on the board, and you're going to do your best to fill in the blank. And I don't have any vocab words for right now, so whatever you think fits to fit that sentence, then you can say that. So we're going to do 4 rounds of that. So sentence 1, the frog sat on the blank. The frog sat on the blank. So there are a lot of different options you can put here. So for the one that I put to finish it, If you have it in your head, awesome. I put the frog sat on the log. Frog can sit on really anything, so anything that you believe fits this sentence works great. So sentence 2. The puppy crawled blank the stool. This one's a little bit harder, so really think about it with the people around you. The puppy crawled blank the stool. Okay, so I put the puppy crawled under the stool. So under. You can really do any kind of preposition here. Crawled over the stool, under the stool. I wouldn't say the puppy could crawl through the stool. That one doesn't really work, but under, over, anything like that. So sentence 3. I hoped to blank at the blank. I hoped to blank at the blank. So the one I put here, you can really put anything. Something that you can do at a different location. So I hoped to swim at the beach. Now you can do something else. You can do, I hoped to read at the library. I hoped to jump at the park. It just has to be something that makes sense. If you put like, I hoped to beach at the swim, that doesn't make sense. You want to put in those words that make sense in the sentence and fit the context clues that you already have around there. And then sentence 4. The p blank oinked at the f blank. So now you're just going to fill in the word. What do you think oinks and where do you think it oinks? So for this one, I put the pig oinked at the farm. For this one, this is really the only answer that I could think of that fits in those blanks. But if you could think of something different, awesome. Maybe a pig is oinking somewhere else at something else that starts with an F. So anything really works, but the answer I was looking for this one is the pig oinked at the farm. So here are my references. I hope that made sense, and I hope that you learned something from this today. Thank you for doing the activity with me, and I can't wait to work on the next one. Thank you.